Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here in Kumasi. In fact, I'm 39 years old, almost in May. And someone will say it almost doesn't count, but I'm 39 years and I've been to this is my fifth time in Kumasi. Like how? So anytime I arrive in Kumasi, I feel like I'm in a very different place, and it's the same feeling today. It's an honor to be here today because I know Amma's been doing this forever. And in fact, when she started speaking to me about this last year, it felt like it would never come. And then already it's here. So last week it dawned on me, oh, wow, I'm speaking at this event next week. And, I closed my eyes, woke up, and the day is here. I'm so pleased to be here and to share my little nuggets of knowledge with you. I know all of you are already very smart women to be gathered here. So to be able to do this, I'm really, really humbled. My name is Karen, as you must have heard, Karen Kane, and I represent the brand Cash. Cash is Kash. I love that it's synonymous to money. you know, um, Cash is a female clothing brand. We design clothes, we make clothes, and we also retail and wholesale from other suppliers. I've had the privilege to sell brands from all across the world. And now, by God's grace, I have my own brand called Cash Fashion. And a lot of people in Kumasi, in fact, I won't exaggerate here, but maybe more than 90% of our daily sales that goes outside Accra comes to Kumasi. The market here is amazing. And I love my Kumasi people. They buy, they don't complain, they pay. Anyway, so listen, that's cash right there. And I tell you, everywhere we go, if you can just easily identify the cash woman, isn't it? She looks fab in the pink. And funny enough, we're twinning in pink today. But Kumasi is amazing. I personally love Kumasi for the love they show us all the way from. They haven't been to our store. They haven't seen us. Most of my customers haven't seen me personally. But the trust they give us to send their money to Accra and knowing that they will arrive, that their goods will arrive, is just overwhelming. Please let's give it up for Kumasi. So I represent the brand Cash, and Cash has been in existence as well. This November we'll be celebrating our 12th year in business, and to be asked to speak about spiritual wellness, I was thinking, why? Amma, you could have just asked me to talk about selling clothes, and that would be easy, because I can tell you how to sell one dress and two and three and four. But then again, maybe um, it's God's doing, because lately spiritual wellness or well-being is something I personally made a conscious effort to chase, and I've been trying a lot to try and find a definition for what spiritual wellness really is. And I found this in the dictionary. It said spiritual wellness is expanding a sense of purpose and meaning in life. Expanding a sense of purpose. Your sense of purpose. Has anybody sat down one day and thought or asked yourself what your purpose in life is? Has anybody done it before? You have. If you don't mind sharing, what's your purpose in life? If you don't mind sharing.
Mine is to solve problems. So wherever problems are and I am there, there's no way I will ignore.
I love this. And you?
Mine is to bring smiles to people's faces. Genuine smiles.
I love this. Someone's purpose is to bring smiles to people's face, and there are people, they won't do much. They'll get people smiling. That's because anybody wants to share their sense of purpose for what they've sat down and asked themselves and found what their sense of purpose is? Anybody else? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, yeah. I mean, life, life as it is, you learn every day. There are people who are still discovering. Look at me. I studied information studies and French, and I said I was gonna be an IT. What? Now I sell clothes. But guess what? What's my sense of purpose every day? Styling and inspiring people through fashion. And there's a way that somebody will do what they do without even doing it intentionally, but they are impacting lives through what they do. This lady puts smiles on people's faces. She will do something effortlessly and somebody will smile. Or she has a gift of giving or comforting people or that sort of thing. I would like to say that every person, before you attain that level of spiritual wellness, you should be able to have sat down one day and find out what your sense of purpose is. I think that should be one of the first things that after this conference you need to go home and do. What is my sense of purpose? It doesn't necessarily have to come with either religion or what have you. It really doesn't matter whether you're Christian, whether you're religious or not. Everybody should be able to be at a point in their lives where they sit down and think, my purpose is to be this or that. And until you're able to do that self reflection, self actualization process, I think you're not getting there. You're not getting to that spiritual well being we're talking about here. But how do you get there? Have you ever had time to spend by yourself before? Who does that? You do that. My ladies here, do you spend time, not necessarily quiet time reading your Bible, like there's a time you are by yourself? This is one of the most important things anybody should do, especially like young ladies. A lot of us are so caught up in this daily life of going to work, coming back, answering messages on social media, keeping up with trends, keeping up with time, keeping up with our children, homework, politics, everything that we forget so much that we need time for ourselves. When I landed in Kumasi today and my son is not with me, I was like, oh, listen. And I just spoke to my friend and she said she came here and she's staying in a hotel just there and, she needed this. How many of you have had a time to sit down and thought, Charlie, I needed this break? This is what a lot of us are forgetting. Why are ladies being stressed constantly? Why are we constantly tired? Why are we constantly feeling like we need a holiday to be happy when we can actually find time to spend, or just a time that you are not doing anything? Not even just watching TV. Like you can just lie down and just be thinking or be sitting on your balcony and watching into space. This is something that I discovered only a couple of years ago. So I realized that I work 6 days. And sometimes I brag about the fact that I work 6 days, but that's nonsense. And then on Sunday, I'm going to church. After church, I'm cooking. And then by the time I realize it's 7 o'clock, it's time to sleep. And Monday. So I was like, Karen, what time do you have for doing nothing? I don't have a time for doing nothing. All my time's occupied. And sometimes even on Sundays, I've seen some message pop up in my inbox. Someone is asking about something, a dress that they want on Monday. I'm so much in a hurry to make sure that on Monday she gets. I realized I didn't have any time for myself. And listen, sometimes I'll be walking there, my son just jumps in the sofa. Then I will just, I want to hit him because I'm stressed. Then I took this is my son. He jumps anyway. Why should somebody's jumping upset me? I saw a message on my friend, a lady that sews my clothes for me most of the time. And A really good designer. And yesterday she shared her story on Facebook about a client whose husband. So she made a dress for the client, and the client fitted the dress. It fitted perfectly. They went home, but she's a breastfeeding mother, and they got home, and unfortunately, the dress didn't fit. And her husband came and abused her verbally, like he gave it to her, and she was so down. She shared the story on Facebook, and obviously for comfort and all that, and and then I remembered that it may not be his fault. A lot of people are already stressed. So it doesn't take much to trigger certain emotions. And people forget that spiritual well being is just as important as making that money. We forget this. Why are you stressed? What's stressing you? What stresses you? There's nothing stressing you. Business. Fair enough. That's me. What stresses you?
Meeting timelines.
Charlie, that's the number one stress, whatever. Meeting timelines. Like you have a timeline to deliver something. You have no idea. Meeting timelines. What stresses you?
Business.
Charlie, it takes someone who is into it to know. Sometimes when a business person tells you or they vent, you won't understand. You think you are in business, you have a shop, yeah, so you are complaining. Some of us cry, we don't have. What stresses you?
Work.
Work. Work. No, but I mean, if you want to be a bit specific, what about work?
Everything about.
Charlie? Everything, like I remember back in the days in school when they ask you, what don't you understand? The whole show. The whole show. And it's valid. I would like to know what stresses you.
Timelines. Meeting time.
Absolutely. What stresses you?
I'll say work.
Work, work, work. Let's ask some of the young people. What stresses you? I want to be here. Nothing stresses me. What stresses? Does anybody go through stress? Which studies? Studies. Me. When I finished my first degree, I told my dad that I am done. I don't have time for masters, and it's not my calling. And I'm done because I realize that I'm a perfectionist. And when I want to do something, I do it to the top. Do I have the time to go back to school and commit and be full-time student and get those grades? I'm afraid. So that alone the thought alone stresses me. How do you kill stress? How do you attempt to de-stress? While you think about it, how do you attempt to de-stress?
Sometimes I zoom out.
There you go. How do you attempt to de-stress?
Dancing.
I love that.
I'm alone time.
I'm alone time, which is what I'm talking about here. How do you attempt to de-stress?
Be alone and do things I love.
Yeah. Gardening, doing things you love. How do you attain that? By making time. Making time. Let me tell you one thing that I've done personally to be able to make time. So these days, I don't go to church on Sundays. I don't know how Sunday dressing looks like. I go to church on Saturday nights. So fortunately, my church, Agape House, we have 4 services. Saturday night church, Sunday, 3 services. So I work 6 days. I go to work on Saturday. We close at 5. And then I go to church at 6:30. And then we close at 7:30 and I go home. On Sundays, I sleep. You can go and bring brass band. I'm sleeping. My son can jump. Mommy, it's morning. Wake up. I will sleep. So me, I'm tired of sleeping. And then I'll wake up. And on Sundays, you can be arrested by the police. If you text me, I won't answer. Mama, how swiftly do I answer messages? So the people that know me now, they know that my zoom out, I'm borrowing your word, my zoom out or my day off everything is Sunday. I won't move my car. I don't care what's happening to you. God forbid that someone is dying, they have to call me. God forbid police has arrested you, they have to call me. God forbid it. That's my day off. That's my day off. Does anybody have a day off here? Charlie? 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 This is one thing that I wanted to. If I came here and I said only this, I'm satisfied. Do you have a day off? Even as some of us are sitting here, they are watching their clocks because maybe they have to do something after this. Do you have a day off? This is one reason why a lot of us in this part of the world, especially African women, are constantly stressed. And sometimes at a point, we look older than what we are supposed to be. And we are too tired because we don't take time. We don't go on holiday. Where is the money? We don't even, have so much time to even do our hobbies. The dancing, how many hours I came here today to tell you to get a day off. A day for you. And this is what spiritual well-being is. When we talk about spiritual well-being, we're not talking about religion, devoid of religion. You need to be at the point where you are feeding yourself, you're giving yourself time, you're giving your brain that time off thinking and adding up mathematics and all that. Your boss is calling you, or you have to make sure the sheets are balancing. A day that nothing matters. And this is why I got here. So I would want everybody to go home, or right now, make a promise to yourself, or write a little note to yourself that I promise myself, if everybody would do that now, I promise myself, I am committing that I will have a day off. This should be, I know the new year has started, but let's start a resolution right now. I am taking time off and I need one day for my well-being, spiritual well-being. Everybody should leave this conference today knowing that they have a day out of the entire week for themselves. You have to make this time. You have to. You don't have a choice. Otherwise, my talk here about spiritual wellness will just be a talk and it didn't impact you. So another thing that I realized was that a lot of people have a lot to offer, but they are either not given the chance or they haven't discovered what they can offer to the society. It could be your family, it could be your society, it could be anywhere, any group that you find yourself. If you haven't discovered your purpose yet, you can pinpoint what you love doing or what you've been called to do. If you're a banker, your purpose is in banking. If you're a teacher, your purpose is in teaching. If you're a caregiver, that's where your purpose lies. If you sell clothes, if you sell water, food, whatever you're selling, that's where your purpose is. How are you impacting your customer? How is your customer living fulfilled? How are you leaving memories in your customers' minds? That's your purpose. Everybody has been called. God didn't put you here to be part of your family, Keke, or to be part of your work group, or every single person has a purpose. And I'm sure that one day, if Judgment Day, God will ask you, how did you use what I gave you? What are you going to say? Every time we hear this message in church, I think we are thinking, oh, God gave me, no, but your purpose is in what you do every day. You don't have to wait to go to church to be an usher. Where you find, okay, fair enough, ushers are also serving, but where you find yourself on a daily basis, like more days out of the week, that's where your purpose is. Even being a footballer, look at Christian Achu, may his soul rest in peace. Look how he impacted us without even knowing. And everybody is sad. But his purpose through football is serving all of us, or served all of us, especially those he blessed personally. Even if he didn't bless you personally, his people are saying so much about him. Some people, they said it's even nothing. They just like him. And what does he do? He plays football. Right? He plays football. That's his calling. Your calling as an entrepreneur is impacting your customers. How are you leaving your customers happy? And and so much more. Even our young people, right? You may think that you're not there yet. But trust me, the other day I was watching, is it Al Jazeera or BBC News? And there's this girl who has started a climate change war or something just because she feels like people are not doing the right thing. I'm like, how dare you? You're only 15. And she's speaking at a very big conference somewhere in Europe, and she's addressing like older people. And she's talking about climate change, and she's only 15 or so. And it's something she's so passionate about. Young people, what are you passionate about? Can anybody tell me or share with us what you're passionate about? What do you love doing? Share. You love to sing. Then sing something small for us. Okay. I won't put you on the spot. But yeah, so truth of the matter is, even young people have a purpose. In fact, from when you're really young and growing up, and you're able to interact with people, you have a purpose. But you need to make time to sit and reflect and find out what your purpose is, or how you've been called to serve the next person or the people around you. Until then, you're not attaining the spiritual wellness that I'm talking about here. So 1, we are making time to find our purpose. And 2, we're making time for us. Making time for us. A time that you're not doing anything. A time that you're sitting down, or maybe just, and you know that anytime you're not doing anything, your mind wanders. And your mind goes away, starts imagining things, maybe the good things you want in life, maybe some holiday or some travel. So those are the kind of things that your mind wants to feed on. Not necessarily, thinking about your problems. No, we're not asking that you take time to think about your problems. But once you make time to do something for yourself, as in making time for yourself, you will be able to attain that point where you can easily say, I've relaxed and my mind is at peace. So I'm happy. Apparently my time is up. I'm happy that I was able to share this with you. And I hope that henceforth, as you've written down, that you will make time for yourself, or a time off the week for yourself. Let's make it happen for ourselves. Thank you so much.
So much, Karen. Thank you.